Using CPF to buy a house feels like a no-brainer, right? It's not cash anyway, might as well use it. But what if I told you that choice could suddenly cost you hundreds of thousands in future cash? And most buyers don't even realize it until it's too late. In this video, I'm breaking down what really happens when you use all your CPF for property, the hidden risk, the interest you owe yourself, and why your profit might disappear when you sell. But it's not all bad. I'll also show you when it actually makes sense to use your CPF and how you can use a smarter CPF plus cash strategy to protect your future while still owning your dream home. Hey, I'm Caleb. I help homeowners in Singapore plan their next move with clarity and confidence, whether it's their first flat or their further home. So let's dive straight in. So what you will discover in this video is the pros and cons of not using all your CPF and for property, the hidden dangers most buyers don't realize until it's too late, when it makes sense to use all your CPF, and a smarter balanced CPF and cash strategy, and also lastly, how to make the right decision for your future, not just right now. So why most people use CPF for property? People think it's not cash, so it's okay to use it, especially when they cannot use it anywhere else. They might as well just use it because OA, you only can use it for education or use it for your retirement next time only. So the truth is, it's actually part of your net worth, this money in your CPF. To some people, the benefits is that you use less cash up front to buy the property and you lower the monthly commitments in terms of cash. And to some, using CPF feels more convenient, painless and logical, but can create long-term consequences also. So let's talk about the downside first, then after that I'll talk about the benefits of it. So let's talk about the downside first. Accrued interest, you need to pay back itself. So when you use your CPF, you need to pay back the amount that you've used together with interest, because instead of the government giving you the interest, you will be the one paying back your own interest at the end of the day. Let's say, for example, you use the principal, you need to return 2.5% of the accrued interest back to your own CPF, and over the years it compounds. So let's use an example. If you buy a property that's 500,000 and you use 100,000 as a down payment and you take the rest of it with a 400k loan, 25 years loan payment period and with a 2.6% interest rate, your monthly installment will be about 1814, and you assume that you use all your 1814 to pay using your CPF. So what happens at the 5th year mark? At the 5th year mark, your 100k will start to generate interest that you need to pay back on your own, and every month you pay 1814, 1814, 1814. Over 5 years, you also need to pay some interest on it. So you can see that the total interest that you need to pay back is about $20,264. This is what you need to pay back to your own CPF itself. So what if it's at the 10-year mark? 10 years mark, you continue paying your 1814 as well, and that's when your interest increase even higher to 57,000 itself. And what happens if it's at the 15-year mark? 15-year mark, it grows even more, 113,000. So you can see that the downside of using CPF is that the more you use, the longer you use, the bigger the amount that you need to refund back into your CPF. Ultimately, this eats into your cash proceeds at the end of the day. Meaning to say, when you decide to sell, your cash you will be getting back, it's lower, because priority will goes to pay back your loan and pay back your CPF also. Imagine this, back to the same example. After 5 years, how much loan is left? After this is the amortization table, you will pay off interest, you pay off principal. At the end of 5 years, from 400,000, your loan become 339,000. And then for your CPF, like what we shared just now, how much you need to return? You need to return 229,000. So your break even at 5 years mark is $568,430. So the thing is that if you sell at 568,000, you get back zero cash at the end of the day. That's how it works out for you. Then imagine this at the 10 years mark, your loan outstanding will be 270,000. And then your CPF that you need to pay back is 375,000. So total break even is 270 plus 375, total break even is 645. So if you don't sell above 645, you are at a loss. So now it's 15 years mark. At 15 years mark, the loan outstanding will be 191,000. And then for your CPF, you need to return back is 540,000. What this means is that you need to refund back 191 plus 540, 732 in order to break even on your property. So what happens if you sell at 600,000? At the year 5 mark, it's still profitable. You still get back cash of 31,000. At the year 10, you start to see negative 45,000. And then at the year 15, you see negative 132,000 in your CPF also. So what this actually means, this red amount is actually lost money that is lost in your CPF, which is the amount that you could have gotten if your money is left inside CPF. If you don't use your CPF money, you could have gotten this 132,000 extra. So therefore, it's considered a negative sale. What is negative sale? Meaning to say, your selling price minus away the amount that you need to return to your loan, and CPF is a negative amount. So that's a negative sale. Most people don't talk about CPF this way. If you appreciate real talk with real numbers, like this video and subscribe. It helps more Singaporeans make smarter decisions. So another downside about using CPF is that you do not have enough CPF for retirement purposes. Because at the end of the day, CPF OA is part of your retirement plan. So it can affect your future retirement sum not being able to be met, because especially if your property does not able to increase so significantly faster than rate of inflation, then it might affect your retirement as well. This is important is because if you do not have any other plans to top up your CPF, then this will form a basis whereby you do not have enough money for you to retire next time. Another downside is that you have reduced CPF interest earnings, because every dollar in your CPF earns 2.5% from the government. By draining your CPF away for property, you lose the effect of compound interest. It's especially so for people who are chasing the enhanced retirement sum, which is basically 4 times the basic retirement sum. The last downside of using CPF is that it's a lot harder for you to upgrade later. So if there is negative sales, it will cause you to have little to no cash for the next property, especially if the market is flat and you will not have cash at the end of the day for the next property, especially if you want to upgrade to a condo, you finish a 5% down payment also. It can trap you in the current property or force you to use cash also. If this video helped you see CPF differently, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more clear, honest property tips in Singapore. So right now we are talking about the positive side of using CPF. So I've shown you just now the negative side, now I'll talk about the positive side. So you free up cash for better use. CPF only earns a 2.5% interest in your OA. So if you get better returns elsewhere like stocks, ETF or business, you should use your CPF for your property and let your cash grow more aggressively in other areas. So let me use an example. If I use cash to invest in S&P 500 and use CPF to pay for the property, how will it be different? So imagine today I use the same example, 100k with CPF with 1814 of monthly installment to the house versus 100k CPF cash with 1814 monthly installment into S&P 500. How will it look like at the end of the day? So imagine today I invest, the total amount of contribution I will need to make is 100k plus 1814 times 12 times 10, total amount over the lifespan of 10 years, I will have invested 317680. So I'll do a back test right now. If I put in 100k, I put in 1814 every month. Every month, then I invest in the S&P 500 ETF at a 100% portfolio rate. So how will it be right now? So in a matter of 10 years, you can see it started slow, it grows. Over time, my 317680 will become 806412. So it's quite a big sum of money that I made profitably from there. So right now, if you use cash to pay your loan instead of using CPF, so you keep your CPF inside to grow the 2.5%, how will it be? So you would have earned 57,493 in interest from government in your CPF. So which is good, which is bad. By investing in the S&P 500 over the last 10 years, using the same conditions, you would have earned 488,632. But whereas if you were to invest into CPF, you would have earned 57,493. I just want to make a disclaimer. I didn't convert the US dollar to Sing dollar and stuff like that. I just used the absolute amount so that you can see it clearly. What is the absolute amount? It is different. At the end of the day, the difference is one is 488,000 and another one is 57,000. So it makes more sense to invest with cash and use CPF to pay your housing if you are doing this. I break down complex property topics like this every week. So if you found this useful, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Another point is that when it makes sense to use CPF is that it improves your monthly cash flow. It's especially so when you have more take-home pay each month to help you raise kids, support your parents, and invest in other areas like education, insurance, and so on and so forth also. Another point is that it maximizes your property affordability, because you have more cash and CPF. At the end of the day, you can buy a bigger property. Yeah, you can buy a bigger, better unit, better location near MRT, bigger size without stretching your cash also. This could mean a better lifestyle or even a better resale value in the long run also. Another reason is that HDB only allows full CPF usage. What I mean is that if you are taking a HDB loan, you don't have a choice, because HDB requires you to wipe out all your CPF or left with 20k at the end of the day. Example, you take a 500k property and also use a CPF and you have a CPF of 100k and you're taking a HDB loan. HDB requires you to use at least 80k in your CPF as down payment to reduce the HDB loan, and you only can keep 20k CPF for each buyer. So some of you might say, might as well take a bank loan. But the thing is that bank loan requires you to come out 5% cash upfront. Some people may not have that amount at the end of the day. So ultimately, HDB makes it easier for first-timer or those without big savings to enter the market to buy a HDB property. So what's recommended at the end of the day right now is that I would recommend you use a combination of cash and CPF, not just all CPF. Down payment, you can set a 50-50 portion also. And installment, if you want, you can start with CPF, but slowly as your pay increase, you can lower down the CPF for your monthly installment. And then if you do investment as well, you can use cash to invest in S&P 500 if you are regularly disciplined at the end of the day. And also to keep some buffer in your CPF just in case you need to pay for any interest, or just in case you need to pay for any emergency or stuff like that. Then you can switch all to CPF usage for a monthly installment and have extra cash flow for emergency situation. So in summary, both choice has its own pros and cons. If you know how to invest your cash wisely to get a good return on you, use CPF all the way. If you want to keep things simple, fully use your CPF for your retirement and use cash to pay off your loan at the end of the day also. So in summary, use CPF to make property affordable, but use cash to protect your future also. How would you use your CPF? All in for convenience or balance it out with cash? Let me know your CPF strategy in the comments below. I read every one of them and reply too. If you want help to plan your next move or work out the best CPF strategy for your situation, feel free to WhatsApp me. Link is in the description below. And if you are above 55 or helping your parents sell and buy a new home, don't miss this next video. I break down what actually happens to your CPF after 55 and how it affects your ability to buy the next property. Click here to watch now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.